Just waiting for some people to get in here. Some peeps. Waiting for some little peepers. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We need some peepers in here to start talking. Well, not necessarily. We could just begin and they'll watch the video later. But, you know, it'd be nice if at least one person was watching. That would be pretty cool. But if not, I'll just start, man. You know what I mean? It can't really hurt. Ain't that the truth? All right. Well, welcome to the Real Car Collection. My stream is my first stream here on YouTube, actually. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be fun. I love cars. I love everything about them. I especially really like car rebuilds. I think that's so cool to get an awesome car, a cool car back on the road. It's just one of the coolest things ever, in my opinion. And speaking of that, Matt Armstrong, okay, I've been watching him. That's what he does. That's his whole thing. Matt Armstrong's whole thing is rebuilding cars, bringing these beautiful pieces of art back to life, roaring back to life. That's why I like him so much. And he just put out a new video, excuse me, on his Ferrari, his new Ferrari 430, I believe it is. And this thing is very cool. It's a very cool car, and it's a very cool build. And I'm just happy we get to sit here and go along for the ride and see this thing from start to finish. It's so cool. When I first saw his channel, I was like binge watching it. Went through all his playlists, got to see these cars from start to finish. It's just amazing. There's so much work that goes into that. There's so much dedication, time, things you don't see, stress, anxiety. There's so much that goes into this. And so he's been blown up, and you got to respect it. So without further ado, I guess we'll get into it. Let's watch his new video.
So you want to be great? First, believe you are. Greatness requires drip, not like that. Like this.
This Ferrari is missing one vital component.
An engine.
But even still, without the vital component, it cost me £60,000, which may sound expensive, but
that car looks pretty good. Like, there's no major damage on this car, so it's not like it's been rolled or completely destroyed like his other projects. Like this should be a piece of cake for him. For Matt, I mean, this is a piece of cake, man. He doesn't have to take the roof off. He doesn't have to take the whole car apart. So yeah, he spent $60,000 on it, but it's not in like horrible shape. Yes, it doesn't have an engine, which is arguably very important, but that can be arranged. And this car is a manual, a gated manual, so that is super rare and super fun. And I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it for him to get this car, but it looks really good right here. Just off the bat. Cleaned up really nice for what it is.
As for a reason, this car comes with a gated manual gearbox. And according to Google, of the 15,000 F430s that were made, only 1,500 of them were manual.
Rare.
making this car pretty rare
Yeah.
and expensive. This could turn out to be a pretty good bargain, providing we can get this engine back together. The engine that I got with this car came
That's
in
the
a
big
million
question.
pieces. As 11 years ago, it was taken apart to fix something, but never got put back together. But my good friend Tavares donated me a spare engine, but with one problem. And that is what happens when you try and compress.
First of all, Tavares, if you guys don't know him, he's rebuilding a P1, a McLaren P1, a $2 million car that got flooded, completely flooded. And he's also a very cool guy. We'll be reacting to some of his videos when he posts some new ones, but he's a really nice guy. To give him an engine, donate an engine, that's very nice. And I'm pretty sure Ferrari doesn't sell. They don't just sell engines. Like, they don't sell rebuilt engines. So they're kind of hard to come by. So I respect this Mr. Tavares, Freddie. I really respect him for doing that. It's really nice.
A fluid. So me and my dad have been attempting to rebuild the engine, but there was an issue. We couldn't get any information or torque specs from Ferrari. They won't give you them. But that was until today. We think we have a breakthrough. Thanks to you guys, I've managed to get my hands on a workshop manual, but it is for a Maserati. But this Maserati engine is also used in the 430. Because the Italians like to share, and later in the video, we find that the French also like to share with the Italians as well.
Oh,
The
really?
cylinders are now ready for the pistons. But before we do that, we need to change the piston rings. There's 3 of them on this piston. The lower piston ring is called the oil ring, which stops oil getting into the combustion chamber. And then
Very
the
good.
top 2 piston rings are used for compression, to keep a nice tight seal in the combustion chamber. And if those were worn out, then you'd lose a lot of power and you'd definitely be burning a lot of oil. First, my dad's using an old piston ring to clean up the recesses of where the new piston rings will go. Then before we fit the ring into the piston, we're going to slide the ring in the cylinder. Now you'll
Yeah, you have to make sure those things are super clean. You do not want any scoring at all. You don't want oil getting in. You need all the power you can get. And, it's funny, I was working in a shop, and we worked on like small engines, like 2-stroke engines, stuff like that. This one lady brought in 3 chainsaws, steel chainsaws. And she said, every one of them, I don't know what's wrong, it's just not running correctly. Like, one of them will start, and it'll immediately die. And the other 2 just don't start at all. And we're like, okay, interesting. What's the common denominator here? This lady, obviously. So anyways, we checked them out. Guess what? Scoring on the cylinder. It's a horrible thing. And guess what the problem was with all 3 of them? Same thing. Scoring on the cylinder. So she must have not mixed the gas correctly, because you got to mix oil with those 2-stroke engines. But it just is like amazing what some people do, And it's not worth working on them, because by the time we got done working with them, it would cost the same as just her going out and buying a brand new one. Now there's 3 chainsaws that are relatively new with ruined engines, so it's just real sad. Anyway, sorry to get off on this tangent, but we were watching something about pistons, so it's justifiable, right?
notice a little gap in the piston ring. This is called piston ring gap. And this has to be a specific size. If the gap is too big, as I mentioned, you'll burn a lot of oil. And we won't have the right compression. But if the gap is too small, then when the engine heats up, the piston ring will expand and it will have nowhere to go but to score up the inside of the cylinder sleeve. Our piston ring gap is all good, so now we're loading up the piston rings into the piston. And now that they're in the piston, we can begin to put them finally in the cylinders. This special bit of kit squashes the rings into the piston.
Very cool.
And then we can knock the piston into the cylinder. And we've just got to do that.
What I was saying earlier in my last stream was about these specialized tools that they have. They really do have a tool for everything. And you got to realize that, because I probably would have been working on this trying to squish them together with two pairs of with two screwdrivers, you know. And that engine probably would have not ran if I did it. But this tool is life-changing. They've got a tool for everything. You sort of forget that sometimes when you're working on cars. Yeah, you might not be able to afford one. That is also a scenario that could happen, and that is very true for a lot of us, sadly. But if you can afford tools and collect tools, do it. As many as you can. Especially if you're going to be working on something a lot. You need to specialize tools. I don't know.
7 more times. Oh, it's well heavier now.
I told you it's heavy. Your old dad.
We're moving, and now it's time for the bottom end bearings. The funny thing about these bottom end bearings is that they make different ones depending on the engine, and we've all got different sizes, different tolerances. The only thing we could do is look at the part number on the old ones and match them up. Easy as that. But fairly simple to go in. The big end bearings slide in at the bottom of the conrod. Wow! 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 And once they're in the bottom of the conrod, it's time for the main bearings. These bearings are what the crankshaft rotates on. We have an issue, and we don't think it can be solved. So if the engine goes bang, and it's because of this reason, it's not our fault. Okay, so check out these bearings here, the main bearings. They slide from left to right, which doesn't look right, because then it's covering over the sort of oil gallery there. Like if that covers over, then the oil is not going to get through onto there. But on the old bearings, which you can see here, they've got a tab on the top here, a big one, to stop it from sliding left to right. But on the new ones, they've got only a small tab compared to the old bearings. So this is going to be a little bit more serious than we first thought, and confusing. If you go on the website here, you can see that the bearing that we're after is 195307, which is also used in the Maserati engines. But if you click on the Maserati one, the part number has now superseded, so it's changed to 286.
Still fresh.
Ads. Ads.
Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables.
Thank God you can skip this one. Boom. Skipped.
832, which is the bearing that we've got. But if you click on the Ferrari one, there's no supersession to that part number. The part number has stayed the same, which in our heads doesn't make any sense. Because why would they change it for one engine and not the other when the engines are exactly the same? Well, they might be exactly the same in my opinion. Now, we didn't want to run the risk of ruining the engine because one of these bearings has slid over and covered an oil gallery. So instead, we went back and ordered the original part number.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to get sued. You know, he's going to be walking on eggshells in these Ferrari videos. We love Ferrari. We do. They make some amazing cars. And they have the right to do whatever they want. But, just saying.
From Ferrari with the bigger tab on it. We have got, well, I've ordered the correct part number from Maranello Parts. It's come next day. Yeah. And it's got the big tab on.
Good.
We're going to put these in. I don't know why Maserati have superseded their one, but we're going to ignore that, and we're going to put these in. At least now we can have some peace of mind that we're putting in the same part number as what came out of the engine. And once they were in, it's time for the crankshaft to go in.
What do you do now, Tony?
I don't know.
And it's back onto the other half of the big end bearings, which slide into the conrod cap, and then the conrod cap meets the rest of the conrod with some new bolts going in there, making sure to match the numbers on the conrod cap to the conrod.
Very nice.
Can you not hear that, really?
Oh, God, hero.
What?
I'm in charge of torquing everything up because my dad can't hear the beep of the torque wrench. And the conrod bolts have a torque setting and then an angle you have to turn them to.
Oh, yeah, I could use
Really?
that one.
After the torque is done. Interesting.
And once I've torqued all the conrod bolts up, it's time to prep the crankcase so the other half of it can join together. It says in the manual to run a bead of flange sealant across the crankcasing before it meets, so that's exactly what we're doing. And with the main bearings installed on the other half of the crankcase, we can now slide it together.
It's coming together. It's always awesome to see an engine just coming together. When it's all parts laid out on the floor, to when it comes together into this beautiful heart and soul of a beautiful car. I don't know, it just warms my heart. It just warms it right up, man. You love to see it. You really do.
That's why we needed the manual, because even these washers are machined on one side, so they have one way of going on, and we just whacked them all on. So I'm going to put it all on now the right way. All of these stages are super vital. One mistake here could mean the whole engine would have to come back out again and stripped completely
True.
apart.
You don't want to break
I'm
a
adding
bolt.
all new.
You don't want to mess up. You don't want to leave a seal off and it start leaking later. You don't want to do any of that stuff. I remember the first engine I worked on rebuilding. I broke a bolt right off, right into the front of the engine. Those things are so hard to get out. They have, like, you know, easy outs. They say easy outs. There's nothing easy about that. Nothing at all. It's a horrible feeling. You gotta watch out for those bolts. Some are just not as strong as you think. You know, bolts are not unbreakable. With enough torque, you can break them easy.
New seals into the oil pump and the water pump, which is built as one, and it's now joined back together. It's all together. It's looking good. We've got a new rear main seal to go in, which my dad's about to put in. Go on. Yeah. No. And whilst my dad is putting that in, he has never tried a Y food. Now we're gonna get him to choose from the fruity range: mango, peach.
We'll skip this real quick. You know,
Is the cylinder heads right and left, but to time this engine up, we need to know top dead center of cylinder number 1, which is this cylinder here. Top dead center being when the piston is at the highest point, and then we time the engine up based on that. Now to find this,
super important, by the way, for people who don't know that. Timing is super important. I had to replace a head gasket on my truck, and I just tried to do it myself, you know, because I don't like asking for help. And I took it apart, thought I had the timing marked correctly. I had to go a little bit deeper than I thought I was going to have to go. Take the chain off, take the, you know, everything off. Well, you have to take it off to take the head off so you can change the head gasket. And then I messed the timing all up, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. But you don't know what you don't know. You got to look at before you just put it all together. You gotta go slowly if you need to, even though it seems like no progress is being made. That's better than putting the whole engine back together and it doesn't start because you don't have timing. Just saying.
we've got a DTI gauge here, and we're going to turn the crank over and make sure we get this absolutely bang on TDC. The engine's going to have a
TDC,
little
baby.
bit of float, which means the piston is going to be at the top even when we're turning it sometimes. So we've got to make sure we're bang on that. So this is how we're going to do it. First, my dad's going to turn the engine clockwise. And once this piston gets to the highest point, it will give me the highest reading on the DCI gauge. I'm then going to mark it on our contraption that we've built here on the flywheel side. Then my dad's going to go back, turn the engine anti-clockwise, and as soon as it hits that same reading as before, I'm going to make another mark on our contraption. The top dead center will be between
Those two.
marks, which I've done with a really thick pen. I've not helped myself, but there's not much float in the engine, so
Not bad.
boom. Time for the cylinder heads. Of course, you can't put the cylinder heads on without the head gasket.
Of course.
So on goes a brand new head gasket, both
Beautiful.
sides. I put the washers onto a screwdriver first, which helps me slide the washer over the stud. And I do the same.
Just little things like that. You know, that's working smarter, not harder. How many of you guys would think to do that? Who knows? I don't know if I would think to do that. So I'm not talking bad. I'm just saying. You gotta just maximize your working, your working potential. You gotta think about these things. How can I make it easier? How will this? What is the best possible way to do this? Whatever you're doing.
For the nuts as well. 2 heads on, head bolts on, or head nuts on. You know it's serious when the glasses come out.
Okay.
Now the procedure to tighten the head nuts is 60 Newton meters. And once that's done, you then go back and turn them an extra 90 degrees. And this has to be done from the middle, working outwards. And it is really important that we get this right.
Yes,
that
it is.
extra 90 degrees on the 60 Newton meters of torque made
break,
these
don't
head
break.
bolts
Oh, this is-
pretty tight. After that, I can then put in the valve lifters.
That was giving me PTSD.
I hope all of you guys watching are managing to follow along, because this is as hard for me to explain as it is for me to do. This is the second engine
understand
I've ever rebuilt. And now with the cylinder heads and the camshafts on, we can begin to start thinking about the timing of the engine. We've got it wrong. So we thought piston number 1 was here, then it worked all the way down, but we read the manual upside down,
So
and
it's
piston number 1 is all the way over
right
here,
there.
which means we've got the timing for the top dead center thing wrong. So if we got that wrong and then we timed it up, it wouldn't have worked and it would have broke the engine. So now we're going to have to do piston number 1, which is here, work out what top dead center is on there, so when the piston's right at the top, and
same thing all over again. But that's really what it is with working on engines. You just run into obstacles and you have to overcome them. And you have to be very patient, because if you're not patient, you can easily just become super frustrated. Trust me. I love cars. I love engines. I love the way they work. And I thought I would love working on engines, right? Oh, this is going to be so fun. I'm going to get this truck, a little project car, rebuild the engine, work on it. And lo and behold, I started working on it, and you got to get your hands in these tight little spaces, and bolts break, and nuts fall into places you can't find them, and you drop this, and you drop this in the engine, in the oil pan, this and that. It's like, I don't know if I like this. And so you just have to realize that stuff like that's going to happen. When you're working on engines, it's not going to go perfect. But what does? Really? What really does go perfect every time? Probably nothing. So, just keep that in mind, Keep it in mind, work on patience.
mark it here, then we can begin timing the whole engine. Okay. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So we're doing the same procedure as before, but this time the cylinder heads are on. And once we've found top dead center, we can now start adding all the chains, which keeps the bottom half of the engine in time with the top half of the engine. You can see we're using a photo that I took before we took it apart to put this thing back together. Just pure genius. This is a nightmare. There's a really complicated way of how to time this engine, and if I try and explain it, I'll lose myself. But in the most simple terms, we've got to keep this piston at top dead center, and then if you just come around here, the cams here, there's a little dot on the cam there and a little dot on the cam there. They've got to align. These dots have got to align with these little grooves here, both sides as well. And the way you adjust this top, so you wouldn't do these bolts here, you wouldn't do these bolts, and that allows you to turn the cam without moving the chain and the whole engine.
That's actually very nice.
This is so vital because this controls when the valves open to let fuel and air in and to let the exhaust gases out. And if they open and close at the wrong time, they could be hitting into the piston. So we've got to make sure that this is absolutely spot on. Okay, if we've done this right, which it should turn over now. So let's check it all still stays in the right place. So
It should be coming up now.
okay, keep coming, slow, keep going. Yeah. Yeah, that's on. That's on. That's on. That's on.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations, good job.
We're on and we're timed up and it works. It actually spins. Vital stages done and it's on to the final pieces. I'm about to put on the chain cover. I've put in a new seal on it. I've run a line of sealant around the edge and a new gasket on it as well. And I can knock it onto the side of the engine. There's then 2 cam variator sensors which sit inside the head. And after that,
That's another thing about this truck I'm talking about. We'll come back to the truck, you know, every once in a while in this video, I'm sure. But this stuff just reminds me of it. But yeah, working on the truck. Okay, so I messed up the timing after I replaced the head gasket, and the way the engine was, the front part of the engine, the cover that covers the chain, the head gasket, it went under the head gasket. So the head came over, and there was a little lip. That thing fit underneath it. And it was that front plate was sandwiched in between the oil pan on the bottom and the head on the top, right? Okay, so there's 2 gaskets. Oil pan gasket, head gasket. And so me messing up the timing, I had to keep taking that plate off and on. And guess what? It's really tight in there. So I messed up the head gasket. And I messed up the oil pan gasket. So now I was trying to work on the truck or on the engine in the truck without taking it out. But now I just have to take it all back out again. This truck is really a nightmare. If any one of you want to buy it, just let me know. Okay? It's an 85 Nissan Datsun 720 pickup, 4-wheel drive. So, you know, text me. Email me.
I can put on the rocker cover with the new gasket as well, of course. I'm happy with that. I can't put the other rocker cover on yet because we're missing a sensor over here, but for a non-professional and someone who was building cars in a restaurant car park 4 years ago, to put a Ferrari engine back together and now it actually turns over is a pretty solid achievement.
It is.
But now
Congratulations.
it's going to get a little harder, and of course we have an issue with the gearbox, but let me take it back. Inside here is the remains of the manual gearbox, the original manual gearbox. And let's be honest, unless you're Rain Man, this is not getting repaired. Like, I just can't. We don't know if there's going to be missing parts out of this. We have no diagrams out of this. We've got all the gears, the selectors, the shafts. I mean, I have no experience with rebuilding gearboxes. Do you?
Bit, but not when in that state.
No. So we're willing to accept defeat on this until we saw the price of a gearbox from Ferrari. It's expensive. In my opinion, it's expensive. A brand new gearbox after VAT would cost you over £30,000. So buying one of them was out of the question.
Wait, £30,000. which is even more in dollars, right? Wow. Yeah, you're gonna rebuild it. That's what you're gonna do.
So second hand, you're looking at £15,000 for a gearbox, and they're an automatic one. Of course, we've got a gated manual box, but then we figured out that the gearbox that from the automatic and the manual are exactly the same. The only difference is the shifter. Well, we hope they're exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
So I managed to get a second-hand gearbox for £4,000. There's an issue. Here it is. This came off a fire-damaged Ferrari in Poland, and there's a hole in the side. We're hoping it hasn't caused any damage to the inside of it, but this is the mechanism for the F.
That would suck if they bought this new gearbox and it was just all burnt up inside, froze up, rusted up. That would be horrible. But you got to take a chance sometimes, because what if, you know, there's two sides. There's two sides. It can either turn out very well or turn out very badly. So, you know, sometimes when there's that much money involved in buying a new one, or even a second-hand, you know, 14,000 refurbished one, sometimes you just got to take that chance.
One gearbox, the automatic one. It automatically selects the gears with hydraulic shifters. I think if we take this part off, and of course the broken part off, we can make this into a manual box, and we would have a manual box for £4,000.
Beautiful.
Providing there's no damage here. Buying this box was a bit of a risk, but so was buying the car. And some risks pay off and others don't. I'm just hoping that this risk does. I hope that...
Now guys, what did I just finish saying? You know? Just saying. Just saying.
there's no more damage inside that gearbox.
Doesn't look bad.
Oh, that's been in water. Is it? Oh, how did it get rusty?
It's been in water.
Oh, maybe it isn't good.
Oh, it's
Uh-oh.
the Titanic. The inside of the gearbox for some reason looked really wet, and not with oil, with water. So we had it.
Create a professional logo that best reflects your brand. Just go to Wix.
No choice but to start stripping this one apart to check for damage.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. Well, it's a good job we took it apart. Look at the bearing.
Oh my days.
So the fire's gone in there and caused destruction.
Absolute
Complete
perish.
destruction.
Do you think the oil set on fire that was in the gearbox?
Oh, it could have. Because look, it's all black in here, isn't it?
Well, what else would burn? What else would make the gearbox burn? You know what I mean? Like, what else? I mean, I'm sorry, but what else? The oil would burn. Straight metal wouldn't burn. It's not like the fire's just blowing through that little hole. So, yeah, I'd assume it's the oil.
Matt's
Good
facts.
call.
Sorry.
Which ain't good news.
Not at all, is it really?
Not when you're trying
I
to
feel
pull the
bad for
gearbox out, so it's set on fire.
Do these even turn?
Yeah, like that, all those bearings in here could look like that.
I think that was the car got it off.
That does not look good.
Oh,
No. No.
Do you know when you're on eBay and you're looking for a gearbox and you see that?
Yeah, well, it's $4,000 as opposed to 15.
you gotta take the chance.
Yeah, it's $4,000
Yeah.
for a reason.
So now. Thank you. So now. Thank you. So now we have, well, two bad gearboxes really, and I don't even know where we're going
Man.
to start or even finish with this. I've got to order loads of bearings for this, as I've got to order a lot of parts for the engine. But before I carry on with this, I mentioned at the start of the video that the French like to share with the Italian, and I'm about to find out whether that's true or not. When I picked up the Ferrari, it was missing a window regulator, and there was only a block of wood holding the window up. which was bad news. The good news
a show car.
was
He said it was a show car. They just had it in a like on display somewhere. So, you know, do your best to hide the damage. You don't need a gear holding the window up. You got a piece of wood. As long as the window's up, right? As long as the bumper's in place, even if it's by duct tape, then it's all good. As long as from 10 feet away, 5 feet away, it looks okay. Then it's all good, man.
we have a regulator on this side. And the other good news is that we found the window regulator, but it's just missing a motor. And we've taken off the motor of this window regulator, as you can see here, and just checked the part numbers on the back, and it's a Bosch motor. For a brand new window motor for the Ferrari, it's £178. And the cheapest one I could find second-hand was 120.
Wow.
And that's the wrong side. But I copied the part number into eBay and then found out that that motor could be used on a well-known French car, in my opinion, called a Peugeot 406. And here we have the motor of the French car, which there is some slight differences. But generally, it looks pretty... Oh, in fact, that one is a little bit longer. It may work, it may not work. The connections are slightly different, but they're only a 2-pin connection and a 2-pin connection, so we could make that work. But this one could possibly work. It's not exactly the same.
Interesting.
But it could work. But I guess we're going to find that out in the next video. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button.
We did. Thank you very much, Matt. You're doing great. Keep going. And, you know, hopefully me and Matt can meet up sometime in person. I'd love to see him in person. I've got a long ways to go to be able to do that, and I know that. But, you know, you can always dream. That's free. Just saying. You can always dream. All right. What should we watch now? What should we watch now? I have an idea of what I want to watch already. And it is Amelia Hartford. She's another car person. She has a few really cool cars, including a Ford GT40 kit car, but very, very cool, beautiful, sexy car that, as you can probably tell, I absolutely love. So she just posted a new video. She says, I told you, it's right here, I told you I was buying a V12 Lamborghini. And apparently, it's a Revuelto, which are beautiful, beautiful cars. And so I wanted to watch that since we don't have any other IDs in the chat. I wanted to watch it anyways. Let's do it. Let's watch this. She's buying a V12. Good for her. Good for her. V12s are amazing.
It's an elegant EV.
Yeah, with 389 horsepower.
It's electric.
With an edge.
Go save him, boy!
I'm good. My watch beat you to it.
Winkleman himself in order to come see the brand new Revuelto and not.
All right, here we go. Play.
You guys, this is a pinch me kind of day. This is a pinch me, I'm dreaming. Lamborghini Storado is literally right there as I'm filming this. What is going on, you guys? Welcome to today's vlog. I am so excited for today because I am here at Lamborghini Newport Beach, invited by Lamborghini CEO Stefan Winkleman himself.
Now, I would be excited too. I would be very, very excited. Invite me, Stefan, please. I love your hair. It's very cool.
In order to come see the brand new Revuelto. And not only that, there are 9 historic V12 Lamborghinis all in a line outside.
Beautiful. Mercy, baby.
There's 3 cars that I really love that are here today. It's the Murcielago, it's
Yes.
the Centenario, and it's this Countach, the
Oh, they're so
LPI
sexy.
800-4. I
Getting carried
am
away.
shook. I am shook. Talk about old school, you guys, the 400 GT. And this wasn't even considered a supercar. Technically, the Miura S was the first supercar, but that's only 2 Lamborghinis here of 9. And I want to show you guys all of them without being late to see the Revuelto. So next, we have the Countach. This is a Periscopio. The rad thing is that these are old customer cars. And the one thing was I can't talk about how much these are worth out of respect. So
Yes.
we're not going to talk about pricing. Instead,
talking
I
about
will
money,
say only 151 of these were made. And then you have the Diablo. This was the poster in so many people's bedrooms as they were growing up as kids, because this changed the game with a 6-liter V12. Look at that car.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, it's a manual. Oh my gosh, dude. If I had all the money in the world, I'd have one of these.
Center console interior. Look how beautiful and clean this car is. I wonder how many miles it has. And you guys,
It
I'm
is.
such a fan of brown cars. I love the chocolate paint color to this. This thing is beautiful. Maybe one day, but I think if I had all the funds in the world and I were to get a V12 Lamborghini, aside from the Aventador, the one that I would want to get, the one that I
Countach?
hope to one day get, is the one that is arguably, if not, I'm saying it here,
Mercy.
it is the
Murcielago is the best V12 Lamborghini, especially the gated manual. Best V12, best Lamborghini ever. My dream Lamborghini.
best sounding V12 Lamborghini, and that is
Boom,
the
baby.
Murcielago. This is a
Yes.
6.5 liter, putting out 632 rear wheel horsepower with a gated
Beautiful.
6-speed
Oh
manual
my
and a
goodness.
top speed of 205.
Yeah.
I love this car, but I'm also very biased, and I'm here surrounded by so many absolutely beautiful cars, like the Aventador Ultime. But this is probably my favorite color on a Lamborghini. I'm also biased because my Infiniti G35, my first car ever, was painted Verde Ithaca. But if I didn't get a Murcielago, I would get this, which is the Centenario. This looks like it.
But correct me if I'm wrong. The Centenario is very, very expensive. A lot more than the Murcielago. You know, the Murcielago is going up though. I wonder how much that one she just saw is, because it's a gated manual. They've been climbing in price this year exponentially, and I think that might be worth 800,000. That if it had low mileage, gated manual, I would not be surprised. But yes, the Centenario is also a very beautiful car.
It wouldn't be a road legal car, but it is, and it's beautiful, and it's full exposed carbon. Only 40 of these were made, 20 coupes and 20 roadsters. If it's not the Mercy one day, you guys, it'll be this. But again, we can't talk about pricing because these are actually customer cars. We have 2 more left, and I don't mean to be rushing through this, but we got to go inside to see the Revuelto. We have the Scion and, oh my god, this Countach. But let's get to the Scion real quick. You'll notice similarities in the headlights of these to that of the Revuelto, which you'll see in a second.
Yeah,
Now, this is a
it's true.
hybrid powered
I think the back.
V12, but it is not.
I think the back. Well, no, the lights are not similar, but the Scion and the Countach next to it, the new Countach. I had a video talking about the Countach, but anyways, the backlights are very similar in both of those cars, and I love them.
Not a plug-in like the Revuelto, but I love the spec of the interior. God, I love a light-colored interior. This is beautiful with the blue carbon
Oh my
fiber.
goodness.
I love this, but we're running out of time.
Beautiful.
We're running out of time. When I saw this online, I freaked out. I absolutely love this. They're using an Aventador chassis for this. It kind of got roasted online when people saw this for the first time, but I loved it. I love the modern class.
I loved it too. I have to say, the new Countach is beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, I said it.
Sick twist. This thing is a beast, and I hope one day I get to drive this. Or maybe even own one too. You know, I'll just take them all while we're at it. Problem is, there are only 112 of these made, so I feel like by the time I can afford one, they're gonna go up a lot in value. I can't stop staring at this. They're waving at me to come in because they're ready to pull the cover off of the Revuelto a little bit early. I have special
baby.
access in order to see the cars up close and personal before the launch event here, and this is the Revuelto. Before going any further, I would love to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. You know what's not fair? The fact that...
Yep. VPN. All right, let's go.
The Revuelto.
Sick of all the ads like this one? Just head to adskiller.com, click on Activate Now,
It's under a cover.
There we go.
But you guys will see this in just 1 second. Behind me is the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto,
Revuelto.
the first plug-in hybrid super sports car. And we gotta take a look at this. This is my first time seeing it in person. I never posted it, but I did a whole video when they announced this car, going through every spec of how I would order it. And I have no idea what color this is. I have no idea what spec this is. MSRP starting at $604,000. The Revuelto.
Wow.
I love it. This is beautiful. Remember I was telling you about the headlights being so
If only I could see this in person. I'm sure it's a
much
much
the
better.
daytime
It
running
looks
lights
amazing
were
right
taken
now.
from inspiration of that. Look at this car. Lamborghini knows that I've been looking for a V12. They know I've been interested and I've been searching. I've been on the hunt for one. I've been wanting a V12 Lamborghini for so long now. And I think it might end up being the Revuelto. I'm here today to also make an offer on this car. There were only 2 in the country. My heart's
Wow.
pumping. This is so exciting and so
That'd
cool
be
to
so
be here with
cool.
all the historic V12s, to be here with this. This is beautiful. The color of this beautiful yellow is actually pronounced Giallo Countach. I think I said that right, actually. This is spicy, and
Wow.
I gotta...
Look at the angles. Look at the symmetry. The beautiful, sharp angles. That's Lamborghini for you. Lamborghinis are just so special with the cars they make. They make them unique. They make them, just there. They make them sharp, and stand out. And they're not rounding out the cars. They're not making them boring. By no means.
I gotta look inside of this. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay, let's see if I can... Only one of them's looking, but I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna open it. There's just something so satisfying
Got the scissor doors. Beautiful.
about that. Look at the dry carbon on the dash. I love this dash display. It feels very track focused, and I've been given permission to sit inside of it. And I feel so bad because it's so hot out and I'm a little sweaty, but I'm gonna get inside of this car. Look at the forged carbon here in the door jamb as well. I'm sitting inside of a Revuelto right now. Oh my gosh, I'm inside of a Revuelto. This is the first plug-in super
so
sports
cool.
car Lamborghini has produced. It is a hybrid assisted V12, top speed of 217 miles per hour, and a 0 to 60, technically 0 to 62 in 2.5 seconds.
That's
Let me show
fast.
you guys the interior.
That's fast.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Wow. Look at that red toggle. That's so cool. I just want to hold that steering wheel. That's all I want to do right now.
Fire her? I'm just kidding, I'm not allowed to. But I was told.
Press it really quickly. No foot on the brake.
Foot on the brake and press
No,
it?
just press it
Foot
quickly.
on the...
Yeah, foot on the
Just fucking
brake.
with you.
Yeah, and then the screen should pop up.
Ooh!
And then you can play with the buttons on the steering wheel. Just don't press with the EV.
Okay.
That will accidentally start the car.
So the Revuelto is the
Accidentally.
successor to the Aventador. I'm still looking at Aventador. Man, I feel like a kid in a candy factory right now with all these naturally aspirated V12s here. And this is crazy. But inside the Revuelto is so neat because it is actually very different from the Aventador because it has a digital screen in the center here. And look at this feature. This is so cool.
Look at that right there on the passenger. That's cool. Oh man, this car is so cool. I am falling in love with this car. But I think she should get the Mercy. Just saying. I don't know.
Cool.
She can do whatever she
I
wants.
can customize the dash just based on what's here. And sorry for my finger marks, I've already been playing it. Say I want to put the G meter up here. I'm just gonna swipe it over, and
Whoa,
look at
whoa.
that. I have the G meter. Say I want the
Holy cow.
passenger to be able to see the TPMS.
Boom.
I'm just gonna swipe over, and there you have the TPMS. And I also always appreciate a USB-C plug
Yeah, of
in
course.
there. Dry carbon here. I love everything. You have the EV
Yes,
button
it's
there.
beautiful.
I wish I could fish it, but I'll get kicked out. And then never be invited back. This is something that's very special, and I just really wanted to take a moment and say thank you, Lamborghini, for inviting me out here. This is really making me excited to soon own a V12 Lamborghini of my own, and also thank you to Lamborghini Newport Beach. Now, I wouldn't be Amelia Hart for
Lamborghini. Lamborghini. Invite me too, please. Okay? If one of you sees my video, this video, okay? I would love to come out and see some cars. I love cars. I love them with all my heart. And so that is reason enough to invite me. And actually, I think I should be able to drive one too. Might be getting ahead of myself, but one day soon. I have faith.
if I didn't pop the hatch and take a look at the motor, so let's do that. And I can say motor because, guys, it's more than just an engine. It's hybrid
a motor.
assisted. And technically there's 3 motors on this because it's powered by 3 electric motors.
Oh well, but listen. You know what's funny? I always call engines, but I know a guy that he calls them all motors, even if he just calls them motors. I don't know which is the correct way. In my mind, I always thought an engine, like a gas engine, is an engine. A motor is electric, and I think I'm right. I actually think I'm right. But let me know in the comments.
And then one 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12. But I want to look at the ICE internal combustion engine.
Build your brand online with a beautiful logo. Just go to Wix Logo Maker. Just
You got electric, you got hybrid assist, you have V12. Look at this. And
Oh my
quad tip
goodness.
center exit exhaust.
That is so
and, you
cool.
know, I'm just saying, not comparing this to 296, but when I had the 296, I built the custom exhaust for that and I got to drive it around for a while. It really made me appreciate a hybrid. Now if we're talking a V12 hybrid, you're speaking my language. Similar setup, you have the headers on the side there. The exhaust comes up and over, and I imagine it wise into a center exit here. So I'm just saying, world's first exhaust, I can do it, easy. In case you guys didn't know, and that's why you watch my videos, because I enjoy the techie stuff. The wheelbase is actually a little bit longer on the Revuelto than the Aventador, and that's in order to fit the electric motors. And it runs the power through
Makes
where
sense.
the center tunnel would be, where a typical drive shaft would go to power the front wheels as well. Stefan, thank you so much for having me. Can I call you
pleasure.
Stefan? Mr.
Yes, you
Stefan?
can.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here and to be the first on the West Coast to see the Revuelto. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I gotta ask, what's it gonna take for me to drive this off the lot right now?
You know, since we launched the car, we sold already 2 years of production. So if you sign now, you have to wait a bit, at least until the year 26.
Okay, but to drive this one off the lot,
This is sold already.
well, we'll work out a deal later. We'll figure something out, you
What we
guys.
can do, you could at least
There's a price for everything, okay? I mean, actually, I don't think that would work. Actually, you know, it might. If someone offered them $1 billion, well, that wouldn't happen. $100 million to just say, okay, I know that car's, you gave that car to someone else, they bought it already. If you take it from them, and give it to me, $100 million. Think someone would do that? I don't think so, because they're gonna be, they're gonna resell them. People are gonna resell them, but there's a price for everything, okay? That's what she's saying.
at least come to Sant'Agata, no, where our headquarters is, and get an idea of what Lamborghini is all about, and maybe you have more than this car then at the end of the day.
Yes.
Say less, I'm there, done deal. I have to go look at the
I wanna go
Storado
there too.
as well. I'm leaving the
so
Revuelto
jealous of
behind.
her
I am literally in
right now.
heaven here right now at Lamborghini Newport. Again, congratulations on this whole place and this massive showroom. And also, fun fact, 25% of all Lamborghini sales in the country are done here in California. Say
Really?
hello to the Storado.
I'm not really surprised. There it is.
love the over fender. I love the spare off-road tire on the roof rack of the Lamborghini with the hood scoop and the fog lights up front. I had the opportunity to go off-road this car, and again, I was out. I couldn't do it. I'm so thankful for all the opportunities. I can't believe I missed going to New York. I can't believe I missed off-roading the Storado, the V10 Lamborghini off-road built Storado. But I am thankful that I get to be here in the first one to film the Revuelto on the West Coast and just seeing all these historic, classic V12s. I literally don't have enough words to describe how incredible this is. You don't see these cars unless you're at Monterey Car.
That's true, man. Like, that was an awesome lineup. Seriously. Beautiful, beautiful cars.
Week, and even then, you don't see them all together. I wish I could stay, but I'm shooting, so I gotta get home and decorate the house. Stay tuned on that. More to come. Ikra, we out here with bye.
Wow, very good job, Amelia. I'm jealous of you for being able to see that car. I'll see it at some point. I have faith. And also, Stefan, if I can call you Stefan, invite me to Lamborghini. Please. I will come. If you pay for my flight. No, I can afford it. I can afford it. Definitely. So, you think we should watch one more? Or no? What do you think, guys? I think we will. We'll save some. We'll save some videos for next time, for next stream. Could be tomorrow. Could be any day this week. Really, I'm not sure yet, but I'll try to post about it if I can. If I'm gonna do one, if I know I'll have the time. And guys, thank you for watching. I've been getting some good. I've been getting some people watching my videos lately. I really appreciate that. It's so awesome. I love cars, and I want to get more involved with talking to people, getting to film cars, review cars, drive all these different kinds of cars. I really do. And it's just like it'll come in time. Okay. It'll come in time, but we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep streaming. We're gonna keep posting these reaction videos. We're gonna get better quality cameras. I'm gonna start reviewing cars. I'll try my hand at that, and I hope you guys watch. That would be so awesome. Cars are an amazing thing, and they're very beautiful, and I'm gonna be talking about them for a while, so I'm here to stay. Please subscribe, please watch, and let's do this thing, man. Let's do this thing. Alright, I will see you guys next stream, or I'll see you I'll see you watching my videos. Okay, I will see you watching my videos. No, I'm just kidding.